everyone, and welcome to the Clarity Classroom. This is our very first one, so it's really special, and I just thank you for being here, for watching, and for supporting. I want to explain what we're doing here a little bit before we get into the nitty-gritty of it. The Clarity Classroom is where we're going to take real life situations and slow it down enough to look at what's actually going on underneath the situation. A lot of times when we say that something's not working in our lives, we tend to name it too quickly. Like we might just say that we're procrastinating or I'm overwhelmed, or we call it things that we shouldn't, like I'm inconsistent, or I just need to get it together, or I need to get myself together. But those words don't always tell the right story, and it doesn't always tell enough. They may describe what it looks like, but they don't explain what's happening underneath. And that's where clarity matters. We all want clarity, right? I mean, how many of us don't want to have clarity in our lives? So, in each clarity classroom, we'll take a situation and we'll walk through it. We'll look at what the person is experiencing, what patterns may be showing up, and what the next step might look like. And that's really what we want to get to, is looking at what the next step, like what is the next best step to take in this situation. And I'm excited about doing this. Today's conversation is going to be with Ruby, and this conversation is we're going to look at starting something or the issues thereof with starting something. And this is my dear friend Ruby. She has agreed to do this with me. And so did I say it's our first time? So you know what that means. We're doing it, but we're doing it afraid, both of
Amen.
us.
For real.
So, but we're going to. And Ruby has something meaningful that she wants to talk about and begin with. It's a situation that she's done before. It's a situation that matters to her. When she's done it before, it went well. But now, when she thinks about starting again, she gets a little bit stuck in that scenario. So that's what we're going to look at and unpack together tonight. Sometimes starting is not about, it's so easy to say, I'm lazy or I'm overwhelmed or whatever. That's not what this is about. And so we're going to really look at what it is about tonight. So, Ruby, from my heart, thank you for doing this with me tonight.
Thanks for allowing me to.
Before we talk about what we're looking at, I really want to look at what your life looks like right now. Like, what do you carry in a normal day? Can you tell me about your normal day or a normal week? Can you tell me about what things look like for you? Tell me who you are. Tell us a little bit about your background, and so we kind of get to know you.
Yes, good evening. My name is Ruby Bacon Mitchell, and I'm from Springfield, Tennessee. And I'm grateful and thankful to be here with my friend Deb and for her to allow me to have this experience with her. And I have a passion. I love people. I love helping people. And I say yes too many times, but I'm learning to say no because you saying yes all the time, it's not getting it. It just makes more chaos and stuff in my life when I can't do it and I'm trying to make it happen. So I'm just trying to ask Deb to help me get some clarity on that because I want to fix this situation so I can move forward with much clarity.
So really so that's good. And we're going to talk about your Bible study that you want to start tonight. But I really want to get a sense of what a day looks like for you or what your week looks like for you, because I know that you have a very busy life. I know you, so I know what you carry in life, and I know what your capacity is. And so, but I want you to discuss it a little bit, if you will, for the viewers, because I really think that people are going to see themselves in this. We might not all be in the exact same situation, but we can all relate. So, tell me about what a day looks like for you, and then what a week looks like for you.
A day for me looks like getting up and getting out of bed is a struggle. And I go to the Y and I'm usually there about an hour and a half. Then I have to get back. I have to take care of my brother. I have a special need brother that I take care of. And then I have to make sure he's taken care of. Then I work. And then doing ministry. And then just helping others out. And so my whole day is just constant moving, constant moving. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with it. I get overwhelmed. But what I do, I have a passion for it. I got to find some balance with it because it's just wearing me out. And then for me, and the what I really want to do is the Bible study. I'm stuck with that. I'm doing all this other stuff. But what I know I need to be doing this time, I'm stuck right there. I've done the Bible study. I had it from 1998 to 2011, and it went well. And I had some things that happened in life, some deaths and things. And so I sort of got stuck with that. I want to do it, and it's right here, but trying to get the movement to do it, it's just not happening. And I just
Right.
believe that after this is going to happen.
Right. So I know that in the past, you are an entrepreneur at heart. You have had your own business for years and years and
Mm-hmm.
years. Um, and now you're retired and you stay super, super busy in ministry. And yes, I know as a caregiver myself, when you're a
Right.
caregiver, it is that takes up not just time, but emotional energy. It's not just physical of having
Right.
to go over and see your brother every day. I know the phone rings many times a day, and you talk to him and you talk him through things, and not to mention
Right.
the phone ringing many, many times a day for other people who are pulling on you. And I'm not saying that that's something that you mind doing because you have a heart to help people. But everything that goes on with you just drains your capacity
It does.
consistently. And so it might be easy to say, yes, I procrastinate because that's something that
Right.
we've talked about before. And I know
Mhm.
that you've said that before. It's like, I procrastinate and I can't get this done, and I procrastinate and I can't get that done. But I think I want to paint the picture of what it really looks like, because you've got a lot going on in your life. And
Right.
so you've got a lot of things that pull on you. And so I want to ask you, like you said that this is where you get stuck, is when you do want to start this Bible study and it's something that's been on your heart. You've done one, and you've done one that's been very successful in the past, and you know that it's something that you're called to do right now.
Right.
And it's been something that you've been wanting to do for a while, but you get stuck. So tell me, like, when you get to that point of thinking about it, because you said it's all up here. When you get to that point of thinking about it, what do you tell yourself when you're thinking about doing it, or why when you think about doing it? Tell me what's going on.
When I think about doing it, Deborah, I'm thinking about doing it. But I think my real problem is I'm just exhausted and I don't have the energy to do the push that it takes to go on to the next thing. And I think that's what I've got to overcome. And I know that you'll be able to help me, is because I say I'm stuck, but I know what I want to do. I can just see it. I can even just see it plain. But to have the motivation to do it, I don't have it because I'm so overwhelmed and so with everything else that I'm doing. So by the time the evening time comes, I just can't. I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
think
it.
I think that that's fair to say. I want to ask you another question though. I know that when you said when you were doing it in the past and you stopped, I think when you stopped because your husband got sick, right? And so there
Correct.
were and so there were other things that were going on around that. And I know that you have people that are asking you to start it back up again, right?
Mhm.
Do any of those do any of like those old feelings come up about, everything that you went through in the past? Does any of that contribute to you not moving forward with this now?
Okay, with that being what happened, the reason I stopped,
Yeah.
is that what you? No, I really don't think that thinking about what happened before, I don't, I don't think that's part of it. I never thought
Okay.
about it.
Okay. So when you think about the actual problem about starting the Bible study, I really want to look at, you've said procrastination in the past, and
Right.
you've said overwhelm, and forget what you the other thing that you just said, but I want to ask you, like, what part really feels hard about starting it when you think about breaking it down? We need to ask, like, looking at it, like, is it choosing a date? Or is it contacting people or deciding what to teach? Is it just like the whole thing just feels too big in your mind? Like what does that look like when you
Thank you.
think about it?
When I think about it, I think just putting a date down to start a date because I look at my calendar and trying to figure out, what would be the best time or whatever around everything else that I do. So I would probably say is just going ahead and get a date. And maybe that's what I need to do. Because sometimes when I write a date down for something, I know I got this down. And so I know I got to do something with it. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So really, that's one of the things that we definitely want to take a look at, which is naming the actual problem. And so that's kind of what we just went through with
mhm,
talking this thing through. It's not really that we're looking at overwhelm only by itself or that we're looking at procrastination. I want to read something from the missing manual just to give some information to others so that they can kind of think through their issues at the same time. So what we're doing with this one right now is we're looking at operating guideline number 4. And the missing manual is a manual that I wrote. It's the essential guide for people who were never given instructions
awesome.
for adult life. Uh-oh, it won't show up in
Awesome.
there because I have a background on. Sorry. But it's 33 operating guidelines, which are really guiding life principles that I think really when we implement these in our lives, it becomes much easier. So this one is named the actual problem. And I'm going to read it so that we can kind of get some clarity from it. It says most adults, when something is not working, diagnose the symptom and treat the symptom. Meaning, like, the mess means I'm disorganized, the missed deadline means I'm irresponsible, the
Mhm.
unstarted project means I'm lazy, or in your case, the unstarted project might mean that I'm procrastinating. None of those are the actual problem, though.
Right.
They are the presenting symptom of an actual problem that is almost always something different. When you
Right.
treat the symptom, you get
Mhm.
temporary relief at best.
That's true.
When you name the actual problem, you can solve it.
True.
So the problem that you can see is rarely the problem that needs solving. So we want to find the actual problem first. And the principle behind this operating guideline is before applying any solution, identify the actual mechanism driving the breakdown.
Mhm.
Procrastination is usually anxiety, avoidance, or activation difficulty, not laziness. In your case, we're looking at activation difficulty, okay?
Mhm.
Distraction is usually environmental design or dysregulation. And you think about that, the distractions that come into our life, they're environmental, whether they're people or places or things that happen, or
Correct.
dysregulation. It's not a lack of caring. So we want to name the real problem first, and then the right intervention becomes obvious. So right now, kind of in my mind, like know the right intervention for you for this thing
All
right
right.
now, and you actually said it. But we're going to kind of go through this, okay? So
Okay.
um, so I think that as you've talked about it, it's not the Bible study itself is not the issue. So you know how to do it, right? You know how to do a
Mhm.
Bible study,
Mhm.
correct?
Do.
Uh-huh. You've done it before.
Correct.
So the hardest part is getting back through the doorway. And once you're in it, you'll know what to do. But starting again is the heaviest part. So you told me two
Mhm.
things that I think really matter. When we were talking before, I don't know if you mentioned it right now, but I'm going to bring it up because when you were talking before, one of the things that you told me is that when you know that you have to do something and that you have a deadline, that deadlines work for you. And that's so very common with so many people, especially neurodivergent people, is that in
Mhm.
an emergency situation, we're the ones you want to call. We're on top of it. We
Right,
can
right.
handle A, B, C, D, whatever. But
Mhm.
if there's not a set deadline or a set emergency or anything like that, that's when it looks like procrastination because that's when the activation is hard to get going. So you said that deadlines work for you. And then I want to ask you, is there a specific time of day that you feel like you're better than another time of day for working or for getting things done
Use it at night, late
at night?
afternoon and night.
Okay.
Because
So,
that's when I have all the main things I feel like, taking care of my brother. I gave him his last medicine. And so, and it seemed like I have more energy at
okay.
night. Hmm.
Okay. So you've gotten mostly everything else out of the way during the day. And
Hmm.
so then once you get home and you can get yourself together, then you have more energy to be able to focus on things. So if I
Hmm.
asked you to do something to start your Bible study during the day, that would be setting you up for failure because we know that you don't have the capacity during the day to do it because you have other
Hmm.
competing commitments during the
Right.
day, right? So,
Right.
okay. So I don't want to ignore those two things because those two things matter. Deadlines work for you, and you tend to do your best thinking or work at night. So a lot of people try to build around how they think they should work. And just like I said, if we tried to have you do it in the morning or we tried to have you sit down and plan out the whole thing at once, you would get discouraged. I think you would get discouraged because your motivation wouldn't be there, and then you would be telling yourself, I'm not motivated, I'm overwhelmed, I procrastinate, when really we're not looking at the things that would set you up for success. So your own life is already giving you the information that you need. So if deadlines work for you, then you said it already in the very beginning. We probably need to give this thing a date. And if nighttime is when your brain starts working better, then we should probably build a plan that depends upon you doing your thinking and your planning at night instead of in the middle of the day when you're tired and when you've got 100 other things going on. So that is actually operating guideline number 2, which is protect your entry points. And you all know that I'm a teacher, right? Um,
Right.
I've been I've been an educator for over 30 years, so it's not necessarily that I'm in a classroom teaching. I'm saying that that's what I operate in. So that's why I'm going to stop and do some teaching things right now. But one of the things, the principle of operating guideline number 2 is that we want to put in structure before willpower. So we might think, oh, we can will ourselves through doing something, but that's not the case because that's always going to end in defeat. So we want to place structure in before willpower. And structure for you is going to be looking at the time of day that works best for you. And for
Mhm.
anybody else that's watching this, you have to think, what structures can I put in instead of willing myself to do it and trying harder, trying harder, trying harder? No, let's build some structure. So the principle behind this is do not rely on motivation or willpower as primary tools for building consistent behavior. They are useful in moments, but they're unreliable over time. Build external structures, systems, environments, defaults, and reminders that produce the behavior that you want automatically. regardless of how motivated you feel on any given day. Willpower depletes, structure does not. So we're going to know that structure is going to be the thing that we're going to look at here. So we've named our problem. We're looking at structure before willpower. And then the other one that I want to talk about is protecting your entry points. And that means making beginning easier. So we don't want to plan out the whole thing of doing this Bible study right now. We want to protect our entry point. We want to take something very small to start. So
Mhm.
we want to make the door easy to walk through. And how we're going to do that is setting the date. So the other thing that I want to talk about is respecting your capacity ceiling, Ruby, because we can't work when we're at capacity. We just can't push anymore. And so when you're tired and when there might be days that you know that you can't do it, and that's okay. You have to give yourself grace, okay? That's not, you don't push harder and you don't try harder. You work within your own rhythm and you
That's
work
good.
within your own capacity.
Makes sense.
So I want to say one
Can I
other
ask a
thing. I
question?
probably want to say a lot of other things, but
Mhm.
one other thing that I want to say is you said that everything is up here for your Bible
Mhm.
study. And I want to tell you something that we know that the Bible says, and regardless of if you're listening to this and
Mhm. That's right.
you don't follow that, it's scriptural, but it's also very
Mhm.
practical. And the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. And
Mhm.
so we need to make sure that it gets out of your head and
Mhm.
onto paper. And so you need to do that. And because there was a study many, many years ago that they did on Olympic athletes, I think. And they said that everybody that won a medal, every single person that won a medal, had their goals written down. They had written goals. And they said that it wasn't, it was very telling that
Mhm.
the people that were the best in life were the
Mhm.
people that were very clear about what they wanted.
Mhm.
And so I think that we can take that. It doesn't mean that we're Olympic athletes
Right.
or whatever, but it could be anything. It could be that we want to
Mhm.
lose 10 pounds. It could be that we want to start a business or start a Bible study or whatever. Whatever that is that you want to do, you need to put the pen to paper. You need to get it out of your head and on paper. You need to externalize it and move from there. So here is what I would do for your first step. I think that before you go to bed tonight, you need to look at your calendar and you need to pick a date. And that's it. It's not the whole study. You're not going to plan your lessons.
Mhm.
You're just going to pick a date to start. And then when you pick that date to start, I want you to text one person what that date is. So
Mhm.
pick the date and then text one person and say, I'm starting the Bible study again on this day. That gives your brain something to respond to. Because for you, the entry point, the door that you have to go through is the date.
Mhm.
So once the date exists, you know that the Bible study is no longer something that's just floating around in your head and that it's something that you're going to start someday. It now has a place to land. Okay.
Mhm.
And once the Bible study has a place to land, you can start working on it. Your brain knows that it has a job to do for the next thing. So I
Mhm.
think that your next best action is to get it on paper and to set a date. Does that
Okay.
feel doable for
Sounds
you
like a plan.
tonight?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. That's your step. It's not going to be any bigger than that tonight. You're going to get it on paper. You're going to pick the date and you're going to tell one person.
I will do.
Does does any of that feel hard or feel too hard for you to do tonight?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, Ruby, I just want to pause here and I really want to talk about the people that may be watching this because I know your heart and I know my heart. And we're not doing this because I want to be on camera doing this, and you're not doing this for that reason either.
Mhm.
We're both doing this because we have a desire to help others, and that's our heart.
Right, right.
So, for you who's watching this, your situation, I'm sure, is very different. I'm sure that your situation is not a Bible study. Your situation may be a phone call, it may be a business idea, it may be a conversation that you have to have, it may be a doctor's appointment that you need to schedule that you've been holding off on doing. I want you to think, though, before you call it procrastination or anything else, I want you to ask a better question. And the question that I want you to ask is, what specifically feels hard about starting? Think about the tasks that you're going to be doing. Is the task too big? Is the first step unclear? Is there an emotional weight attached to it that you just can't get through right now? Are you trying to do it possibly at the wrong time of day? Are you expecting yourself to begin when you have no capacity left or your capacity is already gone, so you're not working within your own rhythm? So, that question, what specifically feels hard about starting, matters because once you name the right problem, everything becomes clearer. So we just
Right.
named the right problem with Ruby, and it was an activation problem. And so I have a feeling that for most of us that have this issue going on, which I think all of us have had at one point or another, just as whether you're in it right now or not. But let's look at that. Let's look at what is going on with that. And
Mhm.
I think that hopefully that will make the next best step clearer because that's what you want to look at. You're not trying to plan out 1,000 miles of a journey. You're not trying to know, you know, all the steps that you need to take to get to your end destination. You need to know the next best step because that's what God will reveal to you. He'll honor your next best step. And then when you
Mhm.
take that next best step, another next best step will become
Right.
clearer.
Mhm.
And I can almost promise you that where you think everything is going to wind up and how you
Mhm.
think it's going to happen for you to get there, it's not going to be like that.
Right,
It's going to
right.
be
I agree.
different. It is. It'll be different. And it will probably be much easier and much
Mhm.
clearer and much better as you take the one next best
Mhm.
step. So I hope that has helped you. Before I close today, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that I'm building and where this work is kind of going. So what I'm building is something called the Capacity Collective. And a collective is it's a group. Okay. So I'm creating, excuse me, I'm creating it for women who are tired of forcing themselves into systems that don't actually fit the way their life works, their brain works, their energy works, or their capacity works. And before I really started doing all of this work, I didn't know that all of these things were important. And the more I've learned over time, the more I understand. Now, this is my background. I do brain based learning. I'm an assessment specialist. I've been a director of special education. I mean, I've been doing this I'm a neurodivergent woman myself. I've raised neurodivergent children. It's personal and professional for me.
Mhm.
So I wanted to create a space where women who maybe don't have that extensive background can come in and
Mhm.
they can learn, share, be supported, and just have a place. Okay. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about inside the collective. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I'll do is I'll probably teach once a week from the missing manual. I'll make it very practical. And then we'll talk about things like follow through, overwhelm, starting and stopping, things like emotional capacity, decision making, relationships, our purpose in life, and what it
Mhm.
looks like to build a life that fits how we are actually wired. Because honestly, I think so many of us have been trying to build it on terms that aren't our own, right?
Right, right.
They're not. They're terms that aren't how our brain works or how our emotional regulation is. And we've been fighting ourselves for years. And we're
Mhm.
just now learning that there's a better way. And so I'd
Mhm.
very much like to create a space that can help women learn how to do things in a better way. And so there'll be some teachings from me and some threads and practical tools and working time together and a space for women to connect. So, one of the things that
Mhm.
I hear from women most is they want clarity, accountability, and
Right.
connections, relationships. It's
Mhm.
hard to have women friends nowadays, and so that's really what I want to provide. I want to provide a place where we can learn and we can work through in order to get clarity. We
Mhm.
can have accountability from our sisters and we can make real, true
Right.
relationships and connections. And so I don't have a link to post for it today, but I will. I want to get it off of the ground by the end of July. And yes, I've had to put a date on it too, because this is more than 2 years in the making. And
Wow.
so it is time. So I believe this month is going to be the time that we're going to be doing it. It's going to be faith forward community, but we're still staying practical and we are going to walk through real life situations. And I just wanted to let you all know that that's coming. If you would like more information about it, it's going to be a very, very, very affordable and low cost membership. And
All right.
yeah, and it's going to be packed full of value. And
Man.
so if you want more information about it, I will post in our women's group about it. If you see this on another format, you can message me and I will send you the link. Ruby, thank you so much for being willing to talk through this with me. I know from the outside, starting a Bible study may sound simple, but a lot of women know what it feels like to have something meaningful sitting in
Mhm.
their heart and not being able to take the next step forward. Lord knows I felt the same way about all of this and this work as well. So I appreciate you letting us slow it down and looking at it honestly. And for you watching here, I really want you to remember that before you ask, why can't I just do it? Ask specifically, why does this feel hard for me? And what feels hard about this to me? That question will show you the real problem. And once you can see the real problem, you can choose a better next step.
Right.
Bless you. We will see you next time. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.